everybody, and welcome back to the airing of Grievances. I'm Eric Reamer, this is Robert Grieve, and it is a Saturday morning wherever you are. So glad to have you along board. And Rob, we're going to get to our topic of the day here in a minute, but before we do, I want to first of all welcome anybody who's brand new. So glad to have you here. And second of all, if you're an old timer,
especially the people that are regular watching, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Really appreciate it.
And we would especially appreciate if you would go ahead and click the thumbs up button. That helps YouTube share this message.
You know what? Do it right now. Just do it right now. It's going to be good, I promise.
We'll wait. All right. Now that we're back, Rob.
Excuse me.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday.
All right.
So appreciate you guys.
In last week's video, one of our viewers, our regular faithful viewers, Marty, wrote a question, and I'm going to read it if you don't mind, and kind of get your take on what he has to say, because I thought it was a relevant question.
Yeah, for everybody, and we appreciate Marty. Marty's he's a great man.
All right. So Marty writes this. He says, besides picking the right insurance that lets competent shops do the right repairs without fighting, what else can the consumer do? What do you suggest? Now, Rob, you're the expert.
Well, I don't know about the expert, but I have an opinion.
You certainly do. and as we learned in last week's video, everybody's entitled to have
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, that's for sure. Competent shop. There is the two important words there.
Yeah.
And if you've seen any of the videos, the first thing you do is do not go to a shop that the insurance company recommends. That is off the books for me, in my world.
Yeah.
They do not have your best interests in heart. They have the insurance company's interest at heart.
And we've made lots of videos and referenced it in almost every video. That position has been consistent ever since I've known you. And I think it's an important thing to drive home every single time, because those people don't have your best interest. They're looking out for their bottom line, and their profit margins and your best interest tend never to intersect.
And we're going to talk more about that today.
Yeah.
But if you're going to take my advice and not choose one of their places, then you're going to have to do your own research to find the shop that you want to take it to.
Where would they research?
Well, I would try first to find an OEM or manufacturer certified shop.
Okay.
Okay. There's no guarantee that it's going to be exactly what it needs to be, but you have a much better chance of that.
Yeah, we made a video about that, and I'll put the link to it right up here.
It's not just a plaque on the wall. It's
That's
a
right.
promise.
Yeah.
And sometimes people fall short on the promise, but it's a better bet for you than going. Plus, if you have a problem with it, you can always reach out to the manufacturer and say, hey, I took it to your manufacturer shop. This is what they did to my car.
Right.
So, I mean, it gives you another layer, and we like layers.
So first, look for a manufacturer certified collision center.
Yeah, for your vehicle.
Okay.
So, like us, we're Lexus authorized. We're the only Lexus authorized in Colorado and some surrounding states. So,
Gotcha.
We know Lexus.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Where else can they research to get a better feel for a competent shop?
Well, like a lot of people do every day, go to Google, read the reviews, see if they're convincing to you. Don't just read the bad ones, read the good ones. A lot of people write stories.
Yeah.
Especially if you're looking at ours, the reviews, some of them are extremely long, because they want to tell their story about a great experience.
Right.
and how we helped them.
Right.
Go to their website, see if they have any blogs. If they have some blogs, read their blogs. Get a sense of, are they working for you? Are they working for somebody else? Whose side are they on?
I've noticed that there are reasonably few body shops who have blogs, and those that do, you really can get a sense or a feel for their level of expertise, their level of accomplishment, and their level of concern for you.
Some of them even go as far as to recommend aftermarket parts. Don't take it there.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Don't take it there.
It's a big red flag.
Yeah. Call the shop that you think when you pare it down, and just do a little interview with them. And if you feel like you're getting closer to where you want to go, ask to take a tour of the shop.
Yeah.
You can tell by walking through the shop, and especially if you walk through 2 or 3, what kind of work they do.
Yeah.
So that's my answer.
All right. Marty, thanks for the question. We appreciate that.
You, Marty.
And keep those questions coming. If you have a question for any of the topics that we talk about here on the airing of grievances,
Send it on in.
bring it to the comments below. We will answer them, and sometimes we'll even feature them here on the videos. All right. Rob, we got involved in a case. Somebody brought their car to us and it's a Lexus, to take a look at some damage. We're going to let you set that story up. But I really want to encourage our viewers to watch all the way to the end for this one, because there's one after the other shocking pieces of information that will absolutely help you be prepared in the event that you find yourself in a similar circumstance. Is that reasonable?
Yeah. So I just want to start off by the American Property Casualty Insurance Association came out with a report in September. Auto insurance claims costs increasing.
Okay.
And it's, I don't know, 15 pages of everybody's fault but their own.
Yeah.
But the very first page, they talk about the key points.
Okay.
And there's only 4 key points, and I thought I'd hit them real quick.
All right.
Auto loss costs are surging as driving levels rebound to pre-pandemic levels.
Okay, you mentioned that in last week's video that that there's more
miles
people,
driven.
Yeah, miles driven. There's more people on the road driving more today, almost to the point where we were before the pandemic.
Right.
Okay?
However, higher severity along with rising claims frequency are pushing. Now, higher severity means more expensive.
Yeah.
And rising claims frequency more often. So
Okay.
there's more accidents happening and they're costing more to repair.
Okay.
All right. So higher severity along with claims frequency are pushing auto insurance costs up to levels not seen since 2017, which may impact customer costs. Okay.
So we're going to pass the buck. If it costs us more to replace or repair,
Yeah.
we're going to push that up.
But we can't do the same thing as repairers.
No.
No, can't do that. Accelerating costs to repair or replace vehicles. So if your car is totaled and you have to go get another one. So accelerating costs to repair or replace vehicles are among the top trends amid severe shortage of new and used vehicles. Drivers, this is the best. You ready for this? Drivers, I guess we're all drivers, right?
I believe so.
We're talking about you, me, and drivers are encouraged to avoid risky driving to minimize potential losses and injuries. So there you have it. You've been warned.
This is the American Property Casualty Insurance Association.
Yeah.
And they're advising you as a driver,
Drive better.
drive better,
Safer.
avoid risky driving.
Don't have accidents. We don't want to pay. You can't make this stuff up.
And as Rob just said, don't have accidents. We don't want to pay. That is a beautiful segue for this conversation.
Let's talk about. So last week we talked about the downward pressure on shops not to repair vehicles correctly.
Yes.
Because of these reasons. They're looking at how much it's costing, and they are grinding people at the shop level not to repair your car properly. Cut corners, and they'll deny it all, but I got recordings after recordings of phone calls that you cannot believe.
They're not going to be able to deny it after we get done with today's conversation.
So for this one, they put it in writing. So, but I mean, we had a rental desk call us. So that's somebody that works for a rental company concerned about how long it's taking to fix a car that they haven't written a proper repair for yet. And they are just the rental desk person. What in the world does the rental desk person know about fixing a car?
Nothing.
And they were just grinding our people. It was a 30-minute conversation, and I just walked by and said, hang up. I mean, why even spend this much time talking to a rental desk person?
Right.
They have nothing to do with the claim other than the rental, and they obviously weren't getting it. Their insurance company is not paying the claim properly, and they expect us to move forward with the repairs even though there's not enough money to repair the car. No, we got to get that part straightened out first.
All right. So, set the scene with who, and I ask it this way because, yes, we repair cars, but we take care of guests.
First and foremost.
And somebody came to us. Describe that to us, please.
Well, we had a guest come in for an estimate. Actually, she's been here a time or two, so she's familiar with us and loves what we do. John spent a lot of time with her and took pictures and detailed pictures and wrote up an estimate, and she sent it off to her insurance company, the pictures and the estimate. I think actually we sent off the pictures and the estimate to the insurance company on their behalf. It's just we do that for people instead of you having to get your phone app out and go through all that stuff. And they didn't really see it our way, even though we're the ones that are the experts on Lexuses.
Yeah. And
we have our hands on the car. They looked at the pictures and disagreed with our assessment. So much so that they did everything they could to bully her into not coming back here and going someplace else to one of their partner shops. Mm-hmm. Marty, you know about this as well. And the pressure is fierce.
Yeah.
The pressure is fierce.
And it's not just fierce to us, but it's also fierce to the consumer.
The consumer, it's total bullying.
And we should just put this into perspective here. The consumer that we're talking about, the guest who came and brought her car to us, is
in her
80s. You're right. She's in her 80s, and she's been driving for a long time, and she's been paying insurance for a very long time, longer than I, longer than you, maybe longer than both of us put together.
Right.
And it is the letter that she received denying payment for the things, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to break this thing down. I'm going to read you the letter.
Oh, you're not going to believe it.
Yeah,
it's breathtaking.
All right. So, I have the letter here because there's sensitive information on this. I'm not going to turn this towards the camera, but I have redacted the sensitive information, and you can take a look at that here. Now, let me read what you just saw a quick screenshot of. Dear consumer, this is the one who's been paying all these years to the insurance company. We have reviewed the circumstances surrounding this accident. We have gathered sufficient information to make a decision concerning the damages to your automobile. Our obligation as an insurer is to pay for damages relating to this loss.
That's where you buckle up.
And by the way, this is going to be the format of this video because as I read certain things, I am expecting Rob to educate all of us.
I might blurt things out.
Yes. The proposed repairs must be reasonable and necessary. We've heard those words before.
Right. Because they don't believe we do reasonable and necessary repairs.
Those are the ones that are tied to the words industry standard. And by the way, we made a video about that just a couple of weeks ago. I'll link it right up here. That's a good one. You should really read that or view that. All right. Attached is a copy of the damage estimate, which does not include the following. You ready?
Okay. It's probably just one or two items, right?
Well, take a look. This is the front page, and this is the second page. All right.
Let's get it. Hit me.
Shop's labor rate is excessive.
Yeah. Our labor rate is $60 an hour. I don't think you can get your lawn cut for $60 an hour.
I can't get my computer fixed for $60 an hour.
So that is incredibly excessive. And I just want to point out the chief guy in charge of this insurance company last year made $20 million all by themselves.
Bonus.
Yeah, all by themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. I find that not only excessive, I'm not even going to use any other words, but my $60 labor rate is excessive. Isn't that what they said?
That's what they say.
Okay.
And by the way,
they'll define excessive at the end.
If in the case you are reading the subtitles to this conversation, when Rob says my labor rates are excessive, he is being sarcastic. Sometimes you can't read that. So, replacing the tailgate shell is not necessary for repairs.
So replacing the tailgate shell, okay, because it got hit right in the tailgate, and it needs a new tailgate. I don't understand what they're saying because their repair plan that they mentioned that they sent along includes the tailgate, includes replacing it. So
Their repair plan includes a tailgate, but it sounds like the right hand of this fairly large insurance company doesn't know what the left hand is doing.
I don't understand. I mean, it's not even a bullying tactic, but if you don't know how to read an estimate, but you're reading this letter, it makes it look like we're asking for something that's unreasonable, but they already have it on their estimate. A brand new factory tailgate. So I am curious.
Two-tone backside factory Ecoat is not necessary for repairs.
Okay, so when a factory part comes in, it's all black.
Yeah.
It's black primer. Okay? The inside is black. If you look at the tailgate that we're taking off, the inside is Ecoat green.
Okay.
So we put it back to Ecoat green because that is what we call pre-loss condition.
Which is, by the way, a terminology that you will find in your insurance
policy. Yes. That's our obligation, is to put it back to pre-loss condition. The tailgate from the factory is green Ecoat inside. We put the green Ecoat back inside, and so it looks like the tailgate that we took off the vehicle.
Well,
and that is unreasonable.
This claims representative says, or claims specialist is what they call it.
Specialist, yeah.
Says that's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Seam seal tailgate, not supported by documentation.
They didn't ask for any documentation. Car's not even here yet.
Okay.
But they're going to deny it.
Oh.
Because I didn't do something that anybody asked me for.
Tailgate wax, not necessary for repairs.
Okay, they're talking about cavity wax, and Lexus insists that brand new parts have this corrosion protection cavity wax put inside these panels around the seams.
Rob, what happens when you don't use the cavity wax?
They rust.
Oh, and that's probably not good for structural maintenance.
No.
Replacing the tailgate cushions is not supported by documentation.
They didn't ask for any documentation.
The glass sealant kit is excessive.
Let's talk about excessive here. They have a glass sealant kit on their repair plan for $25. We have it on ours for $30. So we're $5 more than them. Then I guess that would make us excessive. I don't know. If you go to one place for something, or you go to another place for something that's $5 more, are they ripping you off? I don't know.
The raw urethane kit is not necessary for repairs.
Raw urethane prep is for a new bumper because they have release agents on it because the plastic is dropped into a mold. They spray the mold with PAM, if you will. Drop the molten plastic into it, forms it into a bumper. When it comes out, it has these release agents or PAM or whatever on them, and there's special cleaning that needs to be done to get that off. That's part of it, and it is in their estimating system. They just chose not to click on it, so it's a necessary and recognized operation.
Interesting. We did a video on a BMW as Rob did a walkthrough of how this works on the estimating system, and sometimes they opt intentionally not to click on it because it costs them more money.
Yes, and now that not only aren't they clicking on it, they're calling me a crook. Nice.
Well, let's talk about your mask.
Call the police.
Let's talk about your mask for seam seal. They say it's not necessary for the repairs.
Well, just put the seam sealer anywhere there, let it get all over the place. What we're talking about here is the tailgate comes in and there's a flange all the way around the edge, and that flange has to have seam seal applied to it that is not applied at the factory. It's applied at the factory when you buy a car, but the parts that come to us don't have this on there, and we have to mask off the area for the seam sealer to go around this because it's like that thick all the way around.
To bring it to pre-loss condition.
Pre-loss, yes, and it's also a corrosion protection measure.
All right, how about this cover car exterior? They say it's not necessary.
So if you're spraying a car, painting, refinishing, or priming, or grinding or sanding or whatever you want to protect the rest of the car where you're working and not damage anything else, or if you're spraying, wouldn't you mask something that you don't want overspray on?
We do it in our houses all the time.
Yeah, and by the way, that's like $5.
Oh, all right. Camera recalibration is not supported by documentation.
They didn't ask for any documentation, or we would have provided it for them. Lexus is very clear. You have to recalibrate the camera, backup camera.
And by the way, and you said backup camera, this was a collision in the back end of a car.
Yeah, it's in the tailgate.
This is common sense. We don't have to necessarily jump through all the hoops of providing the documentation. If the thing has been crushed and needs a new camera, that needs to be...
Well, it doesn't need a new camera.
Oh,
it just needs to be taken out and put back in. But once you unplug it, it needs to be recalibrated. And you're taking it out of this thing and putting it in that thing. Yeah. It needs to be recalibrated.
3M adhesion is already included.
3M adhesion promoter. Adhesion promoter is what we use on the brand new paint to loosen it up a little bit, because a step pad has to be glued onto it with double-sided tape.
Okay.
And that makes it adhere better. And again, we're talking about $4 or $5.
Gotcha.
But I'm excessive.
Masking for polishing is not necessary for repairs.
So again, masking is, you know.
All right. Tailgate shell test fit is not necessary.
Okay, so when we get a brand new part in, we fit the part onto the car. Sometimes that will expose damage that you can't see with your eye.
If the frame rail's accident,
frame, rear body panel, whatever the case in this particular situation, we want to put that on there and make sure all the gaps are going to fit and everything be perfect, and we don't have to do anything else before we paint that panel.
Yeah.
They pay one time to take the old door off, old tailgate off, and put the new tailgate on.
Gotcha.
We take the old one off, put the new one on, make sure it fits and it's perfect and it's not showing any other additional damage. Then we take it back off to send it over to the paint department to have it seam sealed, paint it inside, paint the outside, all the rest of that, and then we put it on.
Gotcha. You should be doing that for free.
I know. I'm excessive.
Flex additive is an included operation?
Flex additive is... No.
Okay.
It's not.
Color tint cycle is also an included operation?
The system provides for one round of tinting the color. You can never tint the color in one round. It takes several rounds. We always put an extra round on there just because we know it's going to take 2 to 3 to 4, depending on the color, to match it so that we can paint the thing. So
Gotcha.
One round is included, and I guess they think that's enough, but sometimes it takes more than that. And again, we're talking about nickels.
Yeah. Pre and post scans are excessive. Now this is going to get Rob wound up. You just saw the reaction. Rob, are pre and post scans excessive?
Pre and post scans are required by the manufacturer, and it's clear as could be. And actually, as a Lexus authorized place, we have to have them in the file because they come in every year and pull random files to make sure that everything is in place and in order as it's supposed to be for that car, and everything's included. Pre and post scans are exactly that.
Interestingly enough, though, they're also included on State Farm's.
They are, but after you read that, they say they're excessive.
Right.
Okay. So we charge 1 hour for a pre and 1 hour for a post scan. They think 0.5 and 0.5 is enough.
I see.
But that doesn't get you everything that you need to do. And that's probably with a generic scanner that's going to give you half the information you need to make a good judgment on the vehicle, what it may have or what it needs.
Yeah.
And we used a factory Toyota scanner, which costs thousands and thousands of subscription money every year to support it, and the people to read it properly and understand what needs to be done. Yeah. We are not excessive by, we're 2 hours, they're an hour. So
a couple of videos ago, we talked a little bit about some of the things that we do here for our guests that are not industry standard out there. You can take a look at that video. This says pre-washing the vehicle is not necessary for repair.
Anybody that's seen any pictures of the shop with the cars in them will see that all the cars are clean, and they need to be clean. So we clean them as soon as they hit here. We not only wash them, we pressure wash them to get all the dirt off of them, so the dirt is not coming into the shop to make a dirty environment, to be fixing stuff in a dirty environment. And then when they go into the paint booth is an ultra clean environment until you bring something dirty into it. Every car has to be washed and cleaned thoroughly before it comes in to the shop.
Gotcha.
And we charge, I don't know, 0.6 or something like that to do that, which is a reasonable amount, especially for what we do.
The last two on page 1 is steering wheel cover and safety belt safety check, or seat belt safety check, are not necessary for repairs.
Okay, well, Lexus disagrees because they require a seatbelt check on any time that there's been a collision. And this car was in a collision, so
yeah.
They're lying. Or they're sharing an opinion without calling it. They didn't say it's our opinion it doesn't need it.
Right.
They just said it doesn't need it.
Right. They've
which is a
dismissed
lie.
it, and we're not paying for it.
It's a lie.
Second cover car is excessive.
Well, it would certainly be excessive if the first one is excessive.
If you've
it's
denied
like
the
double
first.
excessive.
Yeah. Metal waste disposal is not necessary for repairs.
We got to throw this big tailgate someplace, and while you can generally get paid for metal, you have to store it someplace first, and it has to be transported, and all the rest of that. There's costs associated with all that stuff, and the people in the garbage industry are changing the rules all the time to charge more money, just like everybody else in this economy is. They can't help it. Costs are going up.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't avoid it. I mean, I have to have the trash cans to put these parts in, and they cost money.
You should just pay that.
I understand. I'm excessive. I'm not $20 million excessive.
Not yet.
I haven't made $20 million in my entire life.
I've
been doing it wrong.
The day is young.
Yeah,
you keep
I know.
writing repair plans like what you've been doing.
Yeah.
All right. Access to the repair manual is an included operation.
It is not included, and what we're talking about is going into the Lexus site and looking up exactly the procedures for the vehicle. Are there any one-time use bolts that need to be replaced, which you don't know that in your head because they change procedures all the time.
Sure.
And torque specs on all these bolts to make sure that they're torqued to the right torque, and they're not going to come loose or get too tight. All these are in the repair manual, and the repair manual, looking up the repair manual, is not included in anything. It's another lie.
And it costs you money to go in.
It costs every time we go in.
Disconnecting the battery is not necessary for repair.
So they must be a repair expert, because according to Lexus and almost every other manufacturer I've ever read a procedure on, the first thing they say, if you're going to unplug anything electrical, you have to disconnect the battery first.
I don't know exactly where the ranking of repair expert, but this guy says he's a claim specialist.
Well,
that
doesn't sound like repair expert.
No.
So that's another lie. It's misleading information. It's bullying.
Yeah. Frame measurement is not supported by documentation.
Nobody asked for any documentation.
Okay. 3M seal nozzles are an included operation, as are the hand glaze.
Yeah. Well, the nozzles are part of the seam sealer, because the seam sealer has to go through this really complex nozzle, because it's two-part. The two parts go through this nozzle and then get, if you've ever mixed them up together, they have to be perfectly mixed. Yeah. And it is just like epoxy. And those nozzles are not cheap, and they're not included. And I have to pay for them.
Yeah, right. Loctite thread lock is not necessary.
No, so anybody that's used bolts that knows that you have to put some Loctite on them once you put them in. And what are we talking about? $3, $4, $1? I don't even know what's on there. It's going to be tiny.
Second color tint is excessive.
Again, they pay for one, but it usually takes more than one.
Okay. Detail for delivery. That's preparing the car so that it can be delivered back to the guest. Not necessary.
No, well, I guess they think that maybe we should work on a dirty car, make it dirtier, and then hand it back to the guest.
Doesn't sound like
And I can't get but first off, everybody knows you can't get anybody to come to work. But when you do get them to come to work, they actually want to get paid.
You
Like
you
a
think?
lot of money.
Yeah.
And even my detailers, which you would think is just detailing, no, it's very, very fine detailing.
Let's talk a little bit about your detailers. It says that polish is excessive.
Yeah, no, well, if you don't have to wash the car, why would you need to polish it? And we're not talking about the whole car, we're talking about the repaired area.
As you can see, we are a little wound up about this. And again, here's a picture of the front page and the second page of this letter that I'm actually reading directly from. In the above list, Rob, excessive means that the repair facility is charging for rates and labor hours above the prevailing competitive price for the market area. We've addressed this before.
Yeah, well, I kind of equate it as like last year during the pandemic, they charged $30 billion more in premiums and had less payout than any time before in probably decades. So they've been racking up their money and they want some more.
We made a video about that. I'll link it above.
So I'm excessive.
Not necessary for repairs means that a charge unnecessary to restore your vehicle to pre-loss condition. Even they use the words pre-loss condition.
Yeah. Well, they know what it is and what it's supposed to be. They don't know how to get there. That's my job.
Included operation or component means that labor or component already considered under another estimated line item. Again, you've made the case that they just don't.
They don't click on it. They no.
And then not supported by documentation means the shop hasn't provided photos or documents. You've already made the case they didn't ask for it.
They didn't ask for it, but they got plenty of photos, detailed photos, more than they're going to get from anybody else.
And by the way, only one of those sides, the insurance department or our shop, is the Lexus authorized collision center.
Yeah.
The only one in the state of Colorado. Here's the bottom line. Remember, the lady receiving this letter is in her 80s. And she's been paying for her entire life for an insurance policy that's supposed to be protecting her. Our investigation reveals that these charges are either not reasonable or not necessary to restore your vehicle to pre-loss condition. Therefore, our insurance company denies to make any voluntary payment for these damages.
You know, it reminds me of a movie where the lady is reading a letter that she got from the insurance company. And at the end, they sign it. We've denied you so many times. You must be stupid, stupid, stupid. And that's what this lady got.
I'll put a link to that movie in the description box below. It's worth watching.
Yeah, and so this is nothing short of bullying. And it's disgraceful.
Please.
There's a disclaimer at the bottom of every estimate.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get this one right here from this insurance company. And now this is a mandated disclaimer in Colorado and in every state.
Yeah.
Has their own version of it.
Okay.
Has to be on every estimate, ours and the insurers.
Okay.
The one that they sent her says, for your protection, Arizona law requires that the follow statement to appear on this form. Any person who knowingly presents a false or fraudulent claim for payment of loss is subject to criminal or civil penalties. We're not in Arizona. She does not live in Arizona. She lives in Colorado. And this is the wrong disclaimer. The correct disclaimer says that and so much more. Any insurance company or agent of an insurance company who knowingly provides false, incomplete, or misleading facts or information to a policyholder or claimant for the purpose of defrauding or attempting to defraud a policyholder or claimant with regard to a settlement or award payable from insurance proceeds shall be reported to the Colorado Division of Insurance within the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Well,
I just may do that because, first off, they sent out an estimate, doesn't have the right disclaimer on it.
Right.
And they made plenty of misleading and false statements in order to what? Deny those things.
And there you have it, folks.
So I got nothing else.
The reason that we bring this to you is because this is a day in, day out conversation for body shops across America who are intent on being integrity filled and taking care of the consumer. And these things are happening, and this obviously is we use what we get, right? But these are happening all the time, and we need to be aware of it. You need to be aware of it, because
And don't get alarmed by this stuff. Get back with your body shop and say, hey, let's go through this one at a time and understand what's going on there. Because most people don't know how to read an estimate. And, you know, we'll help you read the estimate. We'll show you the discrepancies, talk about what they mean and why they're needed, and how all this stuff that they send you is absolutely misleading and against the law.
And here's the thing. We don't want you to get in an accident. But if you do get into an accident, we want you to be equipped with the right answers and the right information to find the right answers. So you made it all the way to this point in the video.
Thank you.
And here's what I want to remind you to do. Go back and look at the question that Marty asked at the beginning and Rob's answer to it, because that's the way that you navigate this sea of deception that is going out there, and find the right answers.
And I'll tell you, you know, the one other thing that you need to keep in mind, because we were talking about how to find the right shop.
Yeah.
She actually took it to another shop.
Okay.
One of their shops.
Under pressure by them.
Under pressure by that insurance company.
Yeah.
And they wrote less than what State Farm wrote.
I'll bet you State Farm would be happy to pay less.
Yeah. And what are the chances, do you have any chance of getting that car fixed properly?
Slim and none.
So.
All right. Well, Rob, thank you for
everybody.
your time. And I know this has been a long video, but I wanted to make sure that you understood that these are the things that if an 83-year-old woman is going through, you probably have an opportunity to get engaged with an insurance claim specialist at some point or another in your life, and you are best armed with information. So, Rob, happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you.
Thank you for your expertise.
If you waited this long, happy Saturday to you, and thanks so much.
All right. We'll see you next time.